Question 1. Topic: Internal audit principles and techniques. Root cause analysis during an internal audit of a medical device manufacturer. The auditor identifies a recurring issue where non-conforming products are being released into production despite quality control measures. The quality manager insists that the issue was already addressed with a corrective action 6 months ago. The auditor reviews the copper documentation and notices that the issue was marked as resolved without further verification. Which of the following should the auditor do next? A. Accept the quality manager's explanation as corrective action was already taken and conclude the audit. B. Conduct deeper root cause analysis to determine whether the corrective action was effective and if there were underlying causes not addressed. C. Recommend stopping production immediately until third-party audit can verify the effectiveness of the corrective action. D. Suggest that the quality control team implement more stringent approval process with investigating further. Answer. B. Conduct a deeper root cause analysis to determine whether the corrective action was effective and if there were underlying causes not addressed. Explanation. The auditor should not simply accept the quality manager's explanation without verifying the effectiveness of the corrective action. ISO 13485-2016 requires that corrective actions be monitored for effectiveness. Clause 852. Since the issue has recurred, it suggests that the previous corrective action did not address the root cause. ISO 19011-2018 guidelines for auditing also emphasizes the importance of evidence-based decision-making in audits. Is incorrect because an auditor must verify and validate that corrective actions are effective, not take explanations at face value. C is incorrect because stopping production is an extreme measure and should only be taken in cases of immediate safety concerns. D is incorrect because implementing stricter without identifying the actual root cause could result in ineffective or unnecessary controls. Question 2. Scenario-based. Topic: Supplier and outsourced process controls. Maria is an internal auditor for a medical device company. During a supplier audit, she discovers that a critical component supplier has made unauthorized changes to its manufacturing process without notifying her company. The supplier insists that the changes improve efficiency and do not impact the final product. However, Maria's review of the suppliers reveals discrepancies in product consistency. What is the best course of action for Maria? A. Accept the supplier's justification as efficiency improvements are generally beneficial. B. Require the supplier to conduct full risk assessment and provide validation data for the process change before accepting the components. C. Immediately disqualify the supplier and seek an alternative provider. D. Report the supplier's actions to the regulatory authorities without informing the supplier first. Answer. B. Require the supplier to conduct a full risk assessment and provide validation data for the process change before accepting the components. Explanation. ISO 13485-2016 Clause 7.4 requires organizations to control and monitor suppliers to ensure compliance with quality and regulatory requirements. Any changes to a supplier's manufacturing process that could impact product quality must be assessed through documented risk-based approach. Is incorrect because efficiency improvements do not automatically ensure compliance with quality requirements. C is incorrect because immediate disqualification is not required unless the supplier is unwilling to comply with corrective actions. D is incorrect because regulatory authorities should only be involved after internal investigation determines the severity of non-compliance. By requiring risk assessment and validation data, Maria ensures compliance with supplier control requirements while maintaining structured approach to risk management. Question 3. Topic: Documentation and record control. Electronic records and retention. A medical device company uses an electronic document control system to manage quality records. During an audit, the auditor finds that multiple quality records were modified, but the system does not track these changes. When questioned, the document control manager states that the company relies on a simple file sharing system that does not include audit trail. Which of the following best describes the issue in this scenario? A. The company's document control system does not comply with ISO 13485-2016 because it lacks proper audit trail for document changes. B. The company can continue using the system as long as employees manually track document changes in separate log. C. The issue is not significant as long as employees ensure that only approved documents are used. D. The auditor should only report major document control failures and not minor system limitations. Answer A. The company's document control system does not comply with ISO 13485-2016 because it lacks proper audit trail for document changes. Explanation. ISO 13485-2016, Clause 4.2.4 requires organizations to maintain document control processes, ensuring that changes to documents are reviewed, approved, and traceable. Additionally, 21 CFR Part 11 for companies operating in the U.S. mandates electronic records to have audit trails to track modifications. B is incorrect because manual tracking outside of the electronic system does not ensure full traceability and introduces risks of human error. C is incorrect because relying on employee diligence does not meet regulatory requirements for document control. D is incorrect because even minor document control deficiencies can lead to significant compliance risks. The company should implement compliant document control system with audit trail functionality to ensure traceability and compliance with ISO 13485 and regulatory requirements. Question 4. Topic: Risk management. ISO 14971 and its role in risk management. A medical device manufacturer is developing a new implantable cardiac device. During an internal audit, the auditor reviews the company's risk management file and notices that risk assessments were only conducted during the initial design phase. However, no updates were made after the device was transferred to production, despite changes in materials and manufacturing processes. What the auditor do in this situation? A. Recommend that the company conduct retrospective risk analysis to assess the impact of the changes. B. Accept the risk management file as compliant since an initial risk assessment was performed. C. Report the company for non-compliance with ISO 13485 without further investigation. D. Advise the company to conduct risk assessments only if customer complaint is received. Answer A. Recommend that the company conduct a retrospective risk analysis to assess the impact of the changes. Explanation. ISO 14971 risk management for medical devices requires manufacturers to perform continuous risk assessment throughout the product lifecycle, including during production and post-market phases. Additionally, ISO 13485-2016 Clause 7.1 that risk-based decision-making must be integrated into quality management processes. B is incorrect because risk assessment is an ongoing process, not a one-time activity. C is incorrect because the auditor should investigate and recommend corrective actions before escalating to external bodies. D is incorrect because waiting for a complaint before conducting risk assessments contradicts proactive risk management principles. By performing retrospective risk analysis, the company ensures compliance with ISO 14971 and mitigates potential safety risks for patients. Question 5. Scenario-based. Topic: Control of non-conforming products. Dr. Patel, a quality assurance manager at a medical device firm, discovers that a batch of surgical catheters has failed sterilization validation testing. However, due to a tight delivery schedule, the production team decides to ship the batch without notifying quality assurance, assuming the sterilization process was effective. A hospital later reports an outbreak linked to these catheters. As an internal auditor, how should you assess the company's handling of non-conforming products? A. Identify this as major non-conformance as it violates ISO 13485's requirements for product sterility and control of non-conforming products. B. Consider it minor issue since it was an isolated case of non-compliance. C. Recommend revising the company's sterilization protocol without further corrective actions. D. Conclude that the company followed proper procedures since there was no deliberate intent to harm patients. Answer A. Identify this as a major non-conformance as it violates ISO 13485's requirements for product sterility and control of non-conforming products. Explanation. ISO 13485-2016 Clause 8.3 requires strict control of non-conforming products to prevent defective devices from reaching the market. Clause 7.5 further mandates sterile products must undergo validated sterilization processes. Shipping non-sterile medical devices violates both regulatory and ethical standards. B is incorrect because non-conforming product release is critical violation, not minor issue. C is incorrect because revising sterilization protocols without addressing the compliance failure does not solve the issue. D is incorrect because intent is irrelevant. Compliance and patient safety be ensured regardless of intent. This situation would likely trigger regulatory action, requiring immediate corrective measures and possibly product recalls. Question 6. Topic: Supplier qualification and monitoring. A medical device company source is a critical component from an overseas supplier. During an internal audit, the auditor finds that the supplier has not been audited for the past 3 years, even though the contract requires annual audits. The company justifies this by stating that the supplier has been reliable and no complaints have been received. Which of the following is the best course of action? A. Require the company to conduct an immediate supplier audit to assess compliance and risk. B. Accept the company's reasoning, as supplier audits are only necessary when defects arise. C. Recommend switching to local supplier with more transparent audit history. D. Conclude the audit without findings as long as past records indicate good performance. Answer A. Require the company to conduct an immediate supplier audit to assess compliance and risk. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 741 requires organizations to regularly evaluate and monitor suppliers based on risk. A 3-year gap in audits violates documented supplier controls and risk management principles. B is incorrect because waiting for defects before contradicts proactive risk management. C is incorrect because switching suppliers should be based on a risk-based decision, not an automatic response. D is incorrect because the absence of complaints does not guarantee ongoing compliance. By conducting an immediate supplier audit, the company ensures compliance and mitigates potential future risks. Question 7. Topic: Internal audits. Nonconformity reporting and CUPA effectiveness. During an internal audit, an auditor identifies a nonconformance related to improper document control. The corrective action implemented by the company involved sending an email reminder to employees about proper documentation practices. Upon follow-up, the same issue is still occurring. What is the best approach the auditor should take? A. Escalate the issue as a repeat nonconformance and require a more robust corrective action plan. B. Accept the email reminder as sufficient and close the nonconformance. C. Ignore the issue as document control is a low-risk process. D. Conduct another internal audit in 6 months to see if improvements occur naturally. Answer: escalate the issue as a repeat nonconformance and require a more robust corrective action plan. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 852 requires organizations to take effective corrective actions to prevent recurrence of nonconformances. Simply sending an email reminder does not address the root cause. B is incorrect because a real corrective action should involve training, system improvement, or policy changes. C is incorrect because poor document control can lead to major regulatory violations. D is incorrect because waiting 6 months without intervention does not ensure compliance. A more structured CUPA approach, such as process changes, retraining, or system modifications, should be implemented. Question 8. Topic: Management review. Leadership commitment to quality. A medical device company's top management conducts annual management reviews. However, the audit reveals that management does not actively participate in quality improvement initiatives and delegates all responsibilities to the quality assurance team. Which of the following best describes this issue? A. It indicates lack of leadership commitment, violating ISO 13485's management responsibility requirements. B. It is acceptable as long as the quality assurance team ensures compliance. C. It is minor issue since management still conducts annual reviews. D. It does not impact quality outcomes and can be ignored. Answer A. It indicates a lack of leadership commitment, violating ISO 13485's management responsibility requirements. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 5.1 requires top management to actively participate in the QMS. Passive involvement contradicts leadership commitment principles as defined in ISO 13485 and ISO 001. B is incorrect because quality cannot be managed solely by the CAR team. Leadership engagement is mandatory. C is incorrect because merely conducting an annual review is insufficient without follow-through on quality initiatives. D is incorrect because top-down engagement is critical to an effective QMS. Management should take more active role in quality decision-making and improvement initiatives. Question 9. Topic: Complaint handling and post-market surveillance. A medical device company receives multiple complaints about a diagnostic device providing inaccurate readings. The company investigates and finds that incorrect calibration is the root cause. However, instead of issuing a recall or corrective action, the company instructs customer service to advise users to recalibrate their devices. How should an internal auditor assess this response? A. Identify this as a serious regulatory violation and recommend a formal CUPA and potential recall. B. Accept the response as user recalibration resolves the issue. C. Suggest no further action since the device is still functional. D. Delay corrective action until regulatory authorities intervene. Answer A. Identify this as a serious regulatory violation and recommend a formal CUPA and potential recall. Explanation. ISO 13485 2016 Cause 8.2.2 requires formal complaint handling and documented corrective actions. Simply advising users to recalibrate does not address the systemic issue. A proper CUPA approach, correcting the manufacturing defect, issuing recall if needed, updating calibration procedures must be followed. Question 10. Topic: Document and record control. Compliance with ISO 13485 2016. During an internal audit, you review the company's document control system and find that several outdated standard operating procedures (SOPs) are still accessible to employees on the company's internal network. The quality manager argues that employees have been trained to use the latest versions and knowing issues have been reported. What is the best response as an auditor? A. Issue non-conformance, as outdated procedures can lead to regulatory and quality issues. B. Accept the argument since employees have been trained on the latest procedures. C. Recommend updating the network periodically but do not issue finding. D. Ignore the issue since no major problems have occurred. Answer. Issue a non-conformance, as outdated procedures can lead to regulatory and quality issues. Explanation. ISO 13485 2016 Clause 4.2.4 requires effective control of documents to ensure only current, approved versions are available. Outdated SOPs pose a risk of incorrect procedures being followed. B is incorrect because relying on employee training alone is not sufficient. Incorrect because updating periodically is not enough. Document control must be continuous. D is incorrect because lack of reported issues does not mean compliance is met. Proper document control processes must be implemented to ensure outdated SOPs are removed from circulation. Question 11. Topic: CUPA. Effectiveness of corrective and preventive actions. A company identified a recurring issue where certain disposable syringes fail leakage tests. The root cause was traced to a manufacturing defect in the syringe mold. The CUPA team decided to increase product inspections to catch defective syringes before shipping. However, on follow-up, the issue persists. What should the auditor recommend? A. Require the company to revise its CUPA plan by addressing the root cause instead of relying on inspections. B. Accept increased inspections as a valid preventive measure. C. Close the non-conformance if the inspection rate improves. D. Recommend switching suppliers without further investigation. Answer A. Require the company to revise its CUPA plan by addressing the root cause instead of relying on inspections. Explanation. ISO 13485 2016 Clause 8.5.2 requires that corrective actions address the root cause of an issue. Increasing inspections is not a long-term solution. The company must modify the mold or manufacturing process to prevent recurrence. B is incorrect because only detect defects but do not eliminate them. C is incorrect because improving inspections does not solve the underlying defect. D is incorrect because changing suppliers without root cause analysis is premature. Proper CUPA should correct the mold issue instead of relying on detection. Question 12. Topic: Design control. Verification and validation requirements. A medical device company is launching a new glucose monitoring system. During the internal audit, you noticed that design verification testing was completed successfully, but design validation was skipped because the R&D team deemed it unnecessary due to similarities with the previous model. How should the auditor respond? Issue a major non-conformance since design validation is mandatory for all new products. B. Accept the justification since the device is similar to a previous model. C. Recommend retrospective validation only if customer complaints arise. D. Suggest limited validation testing instead of full validation. Answer. Issue a major non-conformance since design validation is mandatory for all new products. Explanation. ISO 13485 2016 Clause 736 requires that design validation is performed for all new products, even if similar to previous models. Skipping validation violates regulatory and quality requirements. B is incorrect because design changes, even minor ones. Validation. C is incorrect because validation must be proactive, not reactive. D is incorrect because full validation is required to ensure safety and performance. Question 13. Topic: Supplier Management. Risk-based supplier qualification. A medical device manufacturer sources electronic components from a supplier that has recently changed its production facility. During an internal audit, you discover that the company did not requalify the supplier after this change. What is the best course of action? A. Require the company to requalify the supplier immediately due to potential risks. B. Accept the supplier's track record and consider requalification unnecessary. C. Suggest requalification only if defects arise in future production batches. D. Recommend switching suppliers immediately. Answer A. Require the company to requalify the supplier immediately due to potential risks. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 741 requires ongoing supplier evaluation. A facility change can introduce variations in materials, processes, or quality controls, necessitating requalification. B and C are incorrect because risk assessment must be proactive, not wait. Defects. D is incorrect because switching suppliers is not always necessary if requalification is successful. Requalifying the supplier ensures continued compliance and quality. Question 14. Topic: Traceability. UD and labeling requirements. During an internal audit, you find that a company producing Class M and implantable medical devices does not maintain unique device identification UD records for each product batch. The company argues that these records are not required for internal processes. How should the auditor respond? A. Identify this as a major nonconformance because UD is mandatory for Class M and through devices. B. Accept the justification since internal records are separate from regulatory requirements. C. Recommend implementing UD tracking only if a recall occurs. D. Consider it a minor issue if most devices have proper tracking. Answer A. Identify this as a major non-conformance because UD is mandatory for Class M and devices. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 758 and FDA AD regulations mandate that Class M and devices must have full traceability through UD records. B and C are incorrect because UD is a mandatory compliance requirement, not optional. D is incorrect because compliance does not meet regulatory standards. The company must implement a proper UD system for full compliance. Question 15. Topic: Post-market surveillance. Complaint handling and reporting. A medical device company receives multiple complaints about a ventilator displaying error codes that lead to unexpected shutdowns. The company does not report this issue to regulatory authorities because no injuries were reported. As an auditor, what is your recommendation? A. Report this as a regulatory non-compliance because it qualifies as a reportable event. B. Accept the company's reasoning as no harm occurred. C. Recommend tracking future complaints instead of reporting now. D. Conclude that reporting is only necessary if hospitals request it. Answer A. Report this as a regulatory non-compliance because it qualifies as a reportable event. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 822 and regulatory authorities e.g. EDI require that malfunctions affecting device performance be reported even if no injuries occurred. Failure to report violates vigilance reporting requirements and can result in penalties. Question 16. Topic: Employee training and competency assessment. An internal audit reveals that newly hired quality control inspectors have not undergone formal training on device inspection procedures. The company states that on-the-job training is sufficient. What should the auditor do? A. Issue a non-conformance as ISO 13485 requires documented training records. B. Accept the company's on-the-job training approach. C. Suggest training only if errors occur. D. Consider it minor issue since experienced employees can guide them. Answer A. Issue a non-conformance as ISO 13485 requires documented training records. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 6.2 requires that employees performing quality-related tasks receive documented training and competency assessments. On-the-job training without documentation is insufficient for regulatory compliance. Would you like more scenario-based questions or mix of standard and scenario-based ones? Question 17. Topic: Risk Management. Failure mode and effects analysis. FME, a medical device company, manufactures insulin pumps. During an internal audit, you discover that the risk management file does not include failure mode and effects analysis, FME, for software malfunctions. The company argues that software failures are unlikely due to rigorous testing. As an auditor, how should you proceed? Issue: a major non-conformance because risk assessment must include all failure modes, including software malfunctions. B. Accept the company's justification since software has been thoroughly tested. C. Recommend adding FME only if software issues are reported in the future. D. Suggest conducting an informal risk assessment without documentation. Answer: issue a major non-conformance because risk assessment must include all failure modes, including software malfunctions. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 7.1 and ISO 14971 Risk Management for Medical Devices require that risk assessment include all potential failure modes, including software malfunctions. B and C are incorrect because risk assessment must be proactive, not reactive. D is incorrect because informal risk assessments do not satisfy regulatory requirements. FME must cover software failures, even if unlikely, as they can impact patient safety. Question 18. Topic: Design Change Control. Change management in medical devices. A medical device company updates the firmware of a pacemaker to improve battery life. However, during the internal audit, you find that no formal design change review was conducted before implementation. The engineering team states that the change was minor and did not require regulatory approval. What is the best course of action? Issue: a major non-conformance since all design changes require formal review and validation. B. Accept the justification since it was a minor software update. C. Recommend documentation only if issues arise post-implementation. D. Suggest notifying regulatory authorities but taking no further action. Answer: issue a major non-conformance since all design changes require formal review and validation. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 739 requires that all design changes undergo formal review, approval, and validation before implementation. B and C are incorrect because even minor changes can impact device safety. D is incorrect because notifying authorities does replace internal validation requirements. All firmware or software updates must be documented, reviewed, and validated before release. Question 19. Topic: Supplier Control. Supplier performance monitoring. During an audit of supplier management records, you find that a critical supplier for orthopedic implants has repeatedly failed to meet material specifications over the past 6 months. However, the company has not initiated any corrective actions, arguing that no final products have failed inspection. How should the auditor respond? A. Issue a non-conformance because supplier performance monitoring must include corrective actions for repeated failures. B. Accept the company's approach since final products pass inspection. C. Recommend supplier change but take no further action. D. Consider it minor issue as long as end products meet quality standards. Answer: issue a non-conformance because supplier performance monitoring must include corrective actions for repeated failures. Explanation: ISO 13485 2016 Clause 743 mandates that supplier performance be actively monitored and corrective actions taken for persistent quality issues. B and D are incorrect because relying on final inspection does not mitigate supplier risks. C is incorrect. Changing suppliers is not the first step. Corrective actions must be taken first. Formal COPPA process must be initiated to address supplier non-conformances. Question 20. Topic: Medical device labeling compliance. UD requirements. During an internal audit of labeling records for a company manufacturing surgical instruments, you discover that some products lack unique device identification UD labels, even though they are required by regulation. The company states that the missing UDs are for exported products and different labeling rules apply. What is the auditor's best course of action? A. Issue major non-conformance because UD requirements must be met unless officially exempted. B. Accept the company's explanation since the products are exported. C. Recommend UD labeling only for products sold domestically. D. Consider the issue minor if the majority of products are correctly labeled. Answer A. Issue a major non-conformance because UD requirements must be met unless officially exempted. Explanation. ISO 13485, 2016 and regulatory bodies EDI MDR require that UD compliance applies unless an official exemption is obtained. B and C are incorrect because export status does not automatically exempt products from UD. D is incorrect because partial compliance is not acceptable for regulatory audits. All medical devices must have UD unless an exemption is formally documented. Question 21. Topic: Complaint handling and post-market surveillance. An internal audit reveals that a medical device company does not log minor complaints related to non-functional display screens on patient monitors, arguing that these issues do not impact patient safety. What should the auditor recommend? A. Require logging all complaints as part of post-market surveillance. B. Accept the company's approach since the issue is not safety related. C. Recommend tracking complaints only if customers request refunds. D. Consider it minor issue if major complaints are logged properly. Answer A. Require logging all complaints as part of post-market surveillance. Explanation. ISO 13485, 2016 Clause 8.2.2 mandates that all complaints be documented, not just those impacting patient safety. B and C are incorrect because complaints help identify potential future failures. D is incorrect because consistent tracking is required for effective post-market surveillance. A complaint handling system must capture all device issues. Question 22. Topic: Internal audits. Frequency and scope of audits. A company has not conducted an internal audit for over 18 months, arguing that no major quality issues have occurred and regulatory inspections have been passed successfully. What should the auditor do? Issue a major non-conformance because regular internal audits are required. B. Accept the justification since no problems have been found. C. Recommend an audit only if a customer complaint is received. D. Suggest a partial audit instead of a full audit. Answer A. Issue a major non-conformance because regular internal audits are required. Explanation. ISO 13485, 2016 Clause 8.2.4 requires regular internal audits, regardless of external inspections or issue reports. B, C, and D are incorrect because audits must be proactive, not reactive. Audits ensure ongoing compliance and improvement, not just problem detection. Question 23. Topic: Training and competency evaluation of employees. During an internal audit, you find that new production employees receive only informal training from experienced workers with no formal competency assessments documented. How should the auditor proceed? Issue a non-conformance because training must be documented and competency must be assessed. B. Accept informal training is sufficient if workers perform well. C. Recommend formal training only if quality issues arise. D. Consider it a minor issue if production runs smoothly. Answer A. Issue a non-conformance because training must be documented and competency must be assessed. Explanation. ISO 13485, 2016 Clause 6.2 requires documented training and competency evaluations. B, C, and D are incorrect because competency cannot be assumed. It must be verified. Structured training program with records and competency checks is mandatory. Question 24. Topic: Corrective and preventive actions. CUPA. Root cause analysis. During an internal audit, you find that a medical device manufacturer's CUPA process does not conduct formal root cause analysis, a CA, for non-conformities. Instead, the company relies on immediate corrective actions to resolve issues without investigating underlying causes. The quality manager argues that RCA is unnecessary for minor D and is only performed for major failures. As an auditor, what should you do? A. Issue major non-conformance because RCA is required for all CUPA investigations. B. Accept the company's approach since only major failures require RCA. C. Recommend RCA only if the same issue recurs multiple times. D. Suggest informal root cause assessments without documentation. Answer A. Issue a major non-conformance because RCA is required for all CUPA investigations. Explanation. ISO 13485, 2016 Clause 8.5.2 states that all corrective actions must address the root cause to prevent recurrence. B and C are incorrect because CUPA must be proactive, not just reactive. D is incorrect because undocumented RCA does not meet regulatory requirements. Structured RCA process e.g. 5 whys fishbone diagram must be used for every COPPA investigation. Question 25. Topic: Validation of sterilization processes. Process controls. In manufacturing, a medical device company manufactures single-use surgical instruments that require ethylene oxide (ETO) sterilization. During an internal audit, you discover that the company has not conducted process validation studies for sterilization parameters, arguing that their contract sterilization provider follows standard protocols. The auditor respond: A. Issue a major nonconformance because sterilization processes must be validated by the manufacturer. B. Accept the company's justification since the contract sterilizer is responsible for validation. C. Recommend validation only if sterilization failures occur in the future. D. Consider it minor issue if the devices pass sterility testing. Answer A. Issue a major nonconformance because sterilization processes must be validated by the manufacturer. Explanation: ISO 13485, 2016, Cause 756 and ISO 11135 ETO sterilization require manufacturers to validate sterilization processes even when outsourced. B and C are incorrect because the manufacturer remains responsible for product sterility. Is incorrect because passing sterility tests does not replace process validation. The company must perform installation, operational, and performance qualification (IC/PQ) for sterilization validation. Question 26. Topic: Medical device software validation. Software. As a medical device, SAMD, a medical device company, develops mobile health applications used to monitor patient heart rates. During the internal audit, you find that software validation reports do not include cybersecurity testing for data protection. The software development team states that cybersecurity risks are minimal because the application does not store data. What action should the auditor take? A. Issue a major nonconformance because cybersecurity validation is required for all medical device software. B. Accept the company's justification since patient data is not stored. C. Recommend cybersecurity validation only if security breaches occur. D. Consider it minor issue as long as the software functions correctly. Answer A. Issue a major nonconformance because cybersecurity validation is required for all medical device software. Explanation: ISO 13485, 2016, Clause 737 and IC 62304 medical device software require that cybersecurity risks be assessed and tested. B and C are incorrect because cybersecurity threats can impact data integrity even if data is not stored. D is incorrect because functionality testing alone does not cover security risks. Software validation must include penetration testing, encryption validation, and cybersecurity risk assessment. Question 27. Topic: Medical device complaint handling. Reportable events and MDR compliance. A medical device company receives multiple complaints about battery failures in an external defibrillator but does not report them to regulatory authorities. The quality manager states that no injuries occurred, so reporting is unnecessary. What is the correct approach as an auditor? Issue a major nonconformance because potential safety issues must be reported. B. Accept the company's decision since no harm was caused. C. Recommend reporting only if regulatory agency requests it. D. Consider it minor issue since the device is still functional. Answer A. Issue a major nonconformance because potential safety issues must be reported. Explanation: ISO 13485, 2016, Clause 822 and medical device reporting (MER) regulations require manufacturers to report device failures that could lead to harm even if no injuries have occurred. B and C are incorrect because potential risks must be reported, not just confirmed injuries. Incorrect because device failures affecting critical functions must be taken seriously. The company must file medical device reports ARS and conduct a failure investigation. Question 28. Topic: Calibration and maintenance of measuring equipment. During an audit, you find that calibration records for torque wrenches used in orthopedic implant manufacturing are outdated by 12 months. The production team states that the wrenches are still within acceptable tolerance levels based on operator experience. What is the best course of action? Issue A nonconformance because all measuring equipment must be calibrated at defined intervals. B. Accept the explanation since the wrenches still function properly. C. Recommend calibration only if defects are observed in manufactured implants. D. Consider it a minor issue as long as operators confirm accuracy. Answer. Issue a nonconformance because all measuring equipment must be calibrated at defined intervals. Explanation. ISO 13485 2016 Clause 7.6 requires regular calibration of all measuring and test equipment. B and C are incorrect because calibration cannot be based on operator judgment alone. D is incorrect because lack of calibration records can lead to process validation failures. All torque wrenches must be calibrated at defined intervals and missing records indicate nonconformance. Question 29. Topic: Document control and change management. An internal audit reveals that a revised work instruction for catheter assembly was implemented without formal document control approval. The production team states that the change was minor and did not require formal revision control. What action should the auditor take? A. Issue a major nonconformance because all document changes must follow formal control procedures. B. Accept the explanation since the change was minor. C. Recommend formal approval only if quality issues arise. D. Consider it a minor issue if operators understand the new procedure. Answer. Issue a major nonconformance because all document changes must follow formal control procedures. Explanation. ISO 13485 2016 Clause 4.2.4 mandates that all document changes be reviewed, approved, and controlled. B and C are incorrect because uncontrolled document changes can lead to compliance failures. D is incorrect because operator understanding does not replace for approval. Changes to work instructions must be formally documented, approved, and distributed. Question 30. Topic: Post-market surveillance PMS and trend analysis. During an internal audit, you find that post-market surveillance data is not analyzed for long-term trends. The company argues that individual complaints are reviewed, but no formal trend analysis is conducted. What is the auditor's best recommendation? A. Require formal trend analysis to identify systemic issues. B. Accept the company's process since individual complaints are reviewed. C. Recommend trend analysis only if regulators request it. D. Consider a minor issue if no serious complaints have occurred. Answer A. Require formal trend analysis to identify systemic issues. Explanation. ISO 13485 2016 Clause 8.4 requires manufacturers to analyze post-market surveillance data for trends. B, C, and D are incorrect because trend analysis helps detect potential issues before they escalate. A robust PMS system must track complaint trends, failure rates, and emerging risks.